What's up? What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, along with my beautiful co-host. I almost said fellow like I used to, but my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And Dave, how you doing today? This beautiful Wednesday. We got a debate tonight here in the U.S. People are all up and riled and excited
There's
for it.
a lot to talk about. If it can promise half as much garbage as that first debate provided.
You're wrong, Dave. Not going to let you talk. You're wrong.
There's always that agreement. No responses. It was a rough start to the day.
Mm-hmm.
A couple wasps invaded my bathroom.
You told me about that.
One stung me in the back of the calf.
Dave got assaulted by a wasp.
I'm drying off after the shower and go top to bottom, and thank God that it didn't happen earlier because that could have really done some damage. But I got down to my fucking calf, and all of a sudden my left leg just locks.
Did you feel I've never been stung.
Huh.
Do you actually
I've gotten stung 5 times in the last 7 months.
Really? I've never been stung.
Ow.
I just never have. Usually when wasp and stuff come near me, I run ridiculously far away. I just get the fuck out of there. I have not been fucking stung at your house.
It's uncomfortable.
Do you actually feel the stinger go in?
You just feel a
prick.
You feel a sharp pain. It's like a needle. You know?
Okay. So it's like getting a shot almost?
Yeah, except it's way more uncomfortable after.
Yeah, because of the shit they're putting in. I don't know. Do normal wasps have not like a venom, but do they?
Yeah, no.
Something that goes in?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this is what you come for Ricky for. His science and his fucking insect knowledge is what you do. Because, I'm all over. I'm the bug boy, Dave. That's what they call me.
They call you the bug boy. Big true.
But no,
it was a terrifying start to the day, and then it got better. But
it got better. But
very busy. Lots of fun. Lots of good news to talk about, though, today.
I mean, our day, it's kind of going to be terrifying to start the show because we're talking a little bit about COVID. But then, hey, towards the end, it might get a little better unless you're Luke Walton. And then it might be terrifying the entire show.
I'm still at the job at the moment.
Yeah, let's see if that still happens at the end of the year. Before we get into everything, on quick housekeeping. Discord. You guys know the deal. Join it, link down below, or exclamation Discord into Twitch chat to join that great community that we have in the Discord channel. Also, make sure to, if you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum tiers. And thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. You can also throw us a sub on Twitch, where we're at live every Monday through Friday. But we're also on YouTube at MVP Sports as well. So go ahead, follow, sub, like, at all of those places in order to keep in contact with MVP. But Dave, the first thing we're talking about today is kind of some general NFL news because word around the league is that the season might have to be paused, or there's a worry from fans that the season will have to be paused. And I'm getting this from a CBS article that says, as the NFL works not only to reduce the spread of COVID-19 between infected players, but investigate potential team violations of COVID protocols, it's not out of the realm of possibility that the league could put a hold on the entire 2020 season. Asked Wednesday on NFL Network whether a temporary pause to the regular season schedule is an option, and continued outbreak in Tennessee, as well as additional COVID cases with the Raiders and the Patriots, the NFL's chief medical officer confirmed as much. Here's what he said, Dave. We've said all along every option's on the table, Alan Stills told Judy Batista. We've never taken any option off the table, which includes some type of pause or reset or any other type of alternative arrangements. Stills continued by saying that the NFL is currently focused on reviewing protocols and team-by-team situations while touting the research already compiled since the league instituted COVID standards during training camp. Dave, what are your thoughts? What's the percentage you think that we have a pause to the NFL season because of these COVID outbreaks?
Now, are we talking all games halted?
Yes, that's what they're talking about. The entire season on pause.
Probably only a 10% chance.
Okay.
I think that it's more than likely that teams will have obviously these rescheduled games, these delayed games, and even the season will be extended out a week or two to account for games that just could not physically be rescheduled in a good time period.
Yeah.
Like we got lucky with the whole bye situation with that first one. So with these games coming up, if there are more positive tests, if God forbid somebody on the other teams get it, yeah, I think they will have to extend the season out. So I expect, the Super Bowl. On the upside, they could probably take away that Pro Bowl week. Not gonna be no fucking Pro Bowl this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even before the season, the NFL did the hotels around the Super Bowl site.
Right. For a full month.
Yeah, a full month after they scheduled those. So, like, there's a possibility that, hey, they just say, we're going to push that back because there's no way that they're going to move it up.
Yeah. So it's a real possibility that they just extend out the season. Now, the idea of stopping all games means that, like, something dramatic happens. Like, I would say, like, if the face of the league went down, I mean, Cam Newton's a pretty big deal on the Patriots, but still moving on. How you doing keeping it moving? Like, it's one of those things where I wonder, like, if Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers,
Kirk
Pat
Cousins.
Mahomes. Well, Pat Mahomes is the one we got asked about now.
Well,
Gilmore.
I bring up Kirk Cousins, though, because he's the infamous if I die, I die. Way to go, Rocky. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Gilmore tested positive. So, like, what does that mean?
Dinner with Cam Newton prior to the positive test.
Yep.
And then obviously 2 days later now has tested positive, unfortunately. But he did play in that game. He did dap up fucking Pat Mahomes. So I all of Kansas City right now is like, please, I will give you whatever you need. Just stay healthy.
Yeah.
You can't get sick. $500 million cannot get sick this year.
Well, I mean, the thing for me that why I feel like I'm with you on the 10%, like maybe 20%, but like the reason why I'm under 50 is money. Like if Shane McMahon's music just hit right now, money. Like that's what they care about. Bringing in that TV revenue, bringing in the money. And it's just like when I feel like a broken record because we said it with the college all the time.
See it so much.
When does the life of people and the health of people mean more than making money? Like to me, it doesn't make sense. No professional
athlete in the U.S. has died from this yet.
Yeah, I mean,
so until that happens.
I'm just saying health in general, like even like not even
we
life.
have no idea long-term effects. That's we're still flying by ear, but because that's not a known, they're like, I mean, yeah, you're out for a couple weeks, no big deal. Like you'll be back. Like that's the problem is they don't feel there's dire consequences to this, and until they feel that, then they're not going to make a decision based off of fear, which I can respect, but at the same time, I do look at it and I'm like, I mean, we're just being idiots here intentionally now. We're just, what are we doing here? I get it. We're endangering our lives for millions of dollars. Okay, that's fine by me. Now that's, as long as everyone's informed and everyone's making the same decision, that's fine. It's just, I wouldn't make that decision. I wouldn't make that call.
Yeah, and the thing that complicates this is the magic B word, Dave, or the lack of a B word here in the NFL. There's no bubble. And the reason why I bring up the bubble is there's even articles now that this one I'm going to read from ESPN, a group of Tennessee Titan players. So, Tennessee, who was the first outbreak in the NFL, held a workout at a Nashville school last week. A school official confirmed to ESPN. Last Wednesday, one day after the Titans closed their facility amid a coronavirus outbreak in the organization, a group of players worked out at Montgomery Bell Academy, according to the school official. The NFL and Titans informed players one day later that they were banned from any in-person gathering outside of team facilities. Some Titans players had worked out at Montgomery Bell Academy in the past and have a relationship with NBA head coach Marty, whatever his last name is. Doesn't really matter to the story.
Sure.
The school official said they weren't aware of any restrictions by the NFL in place to prevent players from gathering. Titans coach Mike Vrabel said Thursday that players were told not to hold any group workouts. Like, I bring this up because you're not using the B word, you're not using a bubble, and we are already seeing what we saw in baseball. Like, there were the stories of Titans players before the outbreak going out and having drinks. And like you said, Cam Newton and Gilmore having dinner, where it's like, you don't want, I get the people on the side of, well, we can't live in fear. We can't like lock down. It's like, I get that. I get that you hate being trapped somewhere, but like social distancing, wearing a mask, all of this is done to prevent the spread. And it's almost like we can't trust you, the player, just like we couldn't trust the players in the MLB. It's happening now in the NFL. We cannot trust you to take these steps needed to protect yourself and to protect your other brothers in the NFL, on your team or not on your team.
And your families.
And your family. It's like there's a lot of people in this equation, not just you.
Yeah, it's selfish thought. I mean, it's just super dumb, super selfish thought by these players. Now, when normal people get contract traced and be like, well, you came in contact with someone with COVID, you should quarantine. Why the fuck isn't the NFL doing that?
Yeah.
Why are they like, oh, well, we'll just close down the facility, but, you know, you guys still are expected to work out or whatever, like in your time. Like, no, quarantine your ass. Stay home. Don't travel. Only go to do your daily tests that are required by the league, and don't potentially infect anyone else. If they'd done that for 6 days in a row, we wouldn't have a spread of 25 plus people who now have coronavirus in that organization.
Yeah. And I mean, not even just their organization. Now it's gone to three teams entirely and could spread to more.
We don't know where Cam started from. Gilmore got it from Cam pretty clearly, unless Gilmore had it first and just tested. No, there's no way he would have had it first because those tests. Yeah. You can't be negative that many days in a row and then be positive. Like that would seem very regular.
From what I think his name's Sanjay Gupta, the main doctor they have on CNN, he showed a chart where apparently it's there's the period, I think it's the asymptomatic period, and then right before you find out, there's a small period where it's like you're not showing symptoms, but okay, I can transmit the disease to someone else. So like, yet again, it's the whole contract tracing is the word they're using. It's like now you have to go back and see, okay, this is when Cam might have gotten it. What did he do beforehand? What's like, because you got to worry about what was going on just before that. What did you do after that before we found out that you had coronavirus, to where it's like, I mean, we talked about it in the MLB. We talked about, oh, are they going to cancel the season? They did not. But to be honest, we had the Marlin outbreak, and then it was like outbreak. And ever since the Cardinal one, we haven't really had much of like an outbreak problem in the MLB. And then luckily
it's been fairly well contained.
Because I think they learned to where it's like, okay, this is what we have to do. And maybe that's what the NFL is going to have to do. It's like, hey, we got to learn to update our protocols and stuff. But at the same time, it's like, there's the thing with football that's different about baseball is you're right up in someone's face. Offensive linemen up in the defense's face. When you tackle someone, you're not thinking of like, oh, can't get near their face now. Where baseball, it's like you can distance a little bit. Obviously, there were players wearing the mask while batting and while being out in the field and stuff, to where it's like, I fear that if this keeps going, they're going to have to pause the season. It's going to happen if more cases start coming up.
What's the magic number? Is it just how many games are going to be delayed a game? Like if they have, I mean, now we're talking, so Patriots are in question.
Yep.
They are pushed back to the following day, right? Again, or
I think so. The Titans are in question. They don't know if they're going to be able to come back yet. The Patriots are in that boat. And then now that you have one Raider, did that one Raider get in contact with any other Raiders to where there's going to be more Raiders that test positive?
True, and the Raiders had that whole issue with, well, not issue, controversy around the fact that, hey,
what if John Gruden has it now?
Well, no, they were actually saying that they did a charity event recently, and Derek Carr and the running back
Josh Jacobs,
thank you, had done a charity event, and they were not social distancing at the event. And it's like, well, shit, like good PR charity event, bad PR, like putting people at risk. So, and now you hear that somebody in their organization has it, and you're like, well, shit.
Yeah.
What do you make? I mean, like, if 5 games are up for grabs in 1 week, you should be like, oh, the NFL's on hold for a week. Like, is that where we're at? Or are they just going to be like, because I feel like they're going to go, if there are games to be played, we're going to get those games in. Like, if everybody on these 2 teams are healthy, we're not punishing those 2 teams. They can go keep playing their season.
Yeah, I
feel like that's the Goodell answer.
Yeah, it does sound like it. It sounds like it. Like, to me, I'm thinking, number one, if there's a game like the Jets and the Giants, I just threw out 2 random bad teams.
Well, I mean, the Jets are still hoping the season just gets canceled.
Yeah,
that's their saving grace.
If it's a game like that where it's like Giants and Jets, to where it's like, all right, these 2 teams aren't making the playoffs. We're just not rescheduled. Like, I would just be like, we're not rescheduling it. Fuck it. Like, it's not being rescheduled. Put it up as a tie or whatever.
They're going to need that game to decide who gets the number 1 overall draft pick.
And that I know that's a thing too, of like who gets the draft pick. But like, for me, Keyshawn Johnson on, I think it was Get Up, I disagreed with the start of his point, but then he made a point to where I'm like, I didn't think about that. Okay. To where the first he goes, they asked like, should they pause the season? And he gave the player answer. I understand why he gave the answer. Like, no, unless it's like, if a few players on this team or that team, unless it's like 10 players on a team, just keep going with it.
We already have 10 players on a team.
But the thing he brought up was, if more and more teams get infected, if that hurts the competitive balance, to where it's like, for example, it's like why we bring up with basketball the whole like asterisk season of like, well, in these certain situations, this wouldn't have, like, this virus outbreak could create that. Like, you brought up Patty Mahomes. What if Patrick Mahomes gets it and just doesn't play a couple games?
I don't even know who the backup quarterback is.
Exactly. The Chiefs lose a couple games, and then it's like, oh, well, the Chiefs would have been the best football team in the league if Patrick Mahomes didn't get hurt. Like, it hurts your competitive balance. It brings teams to where it's like, well, we should, like, our season shouldn't be punished because so-and-so on that. Like, the Steelers. Look at the Steelers and where they're at. And there's a part of me that I mentioned it before, like the Eric Ebron tweet. There's a part of me that is like the, you make millions of dollars, shut up about it. Like, you know what? You're in a situation that there's people like are not in. But, like, there is the side of, like, he now has to miss spending time with his kid on his kid's birthday, to where it's like, you know what? That does suck. I realize that. Like, you got to now go to work because of something that was out of your control. Like, the Steelers did nothing wrong here. What?
Well, let's be honest. What if his kid's birthday was not a bye week initially? Like,
No, I mean, but the fact is it was.
That's all.
It's unfortunate. But like the Steelers, they didn't do anything wrong. They're a team that supposedly is doing the right things. I say supposedly because I don't trust anybody. When they're saying we're doing all the right things, I don't trust it. And the only thing that's going to make me trust it and make me go, okay, they did, is if they never get an outbreak. Like, if they never get an outbreak, unless it's like, oh, we played the Raiders and that's how we got our outbreak. Like, to me, it's like I look at these players and I go, some of them are probably doing the right thing. Some are doing the right thing, some are not. And then there's a middle ground where it's like, for example, Gilmore. Gilmore might have been doing the right thing, but it was like, hey, I'm going to go have dinner with my buddy Cam. Boom, gets infected. Like, it just takes one thing.
He didn't know that Cam had it. Cam didn't know Cam had it.
I'm not saying that
players allowed
did.
to eat at restaurants.
Yeah.
That's my question. I honestly don't know what the NFL stipulation is around their time outside of the field.
I don't think there's any restrictions.
No, there are restrictions.
There
are restrictions given to players for things they can and can't do when they are not at practice. I mean, there are definitely they're at practice, but they are putting in like stipulations around like, maybe it's not restrictions, maybe it's guidelines.
Yeah, like don't go to large gatherings. Don't.
Yeah, like the same thing that everyone in America is,
common sense shit. That's why they're not, like you said, guidelines, not restrictions.
Right. And like, I'll be honest, I know people who still go to restaurants right now. I'm not I ain't doing it. I ain't one of those people. Not if I can help it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those situations where you can't stop human nature. Like, that's what it is. So
yeah.
I think my final landing is just yes, teams will miss weeks. Yes, the season will be extended. But no, we will not see an indefinite period where there are no games played for an entire NFL game. I don't think we see that ever happen this year.
I'm going to go on the other side of like, do I see it happening? Maybe. I can't tell. I can't read the future. But if this keeps snowballing and more teams get infected, and it's
like 20 people on 5 teams, like I said,
yeah,
you can still play those other games.
They're even talking about the Patriots having like a second wave of positive tests.
Yeah, everybody's waiting. Like, again, people, I don't know why people were so quick to be like, oh, it was only a couple people on the Titans. Like, you guys do know how this thing works, right?
Yeah.
Like, it takes up to 10 days for you to test positive from when you were infected.
Well, I mean, when your president goes to the hospital and then is out in 6 days, like, that's kind of the precedent that he sets to most of the people that don't know the science or don't listen to the science or don't even believe the science, Dave.
Sure, when you get the best possible treatment, you get airlifted to the hospital, you get put on oxygen, you get given experimental drug.
It's
I don't have to.
CNN has been using the word experimental
because it has not been yet approved by
the FDA, not FDA, CDC.
Yeah, CDC. Sure.
I'm like the Food and Drug Administration. I mean, it could be the FDA, Food and Drug.
But yeah, like, again, apples oranges here. Like, but I see your point. What's the public perception of the situation? And yeah, it's not good. Yeah. It's not good.
But my final thing is just, if the snowballs, yes, there will be a pause. It's just, we got to wait and see what happens. Like, no one can predict what's going to happen. The other football news, Dave, coming out, and I just fucking, you know what? I forget about these things all the time, Dave. I didn't have the graphic up talking about what we're going to talk about, so now I will. So people coming in know we're not talking about the lead story anymore, and we're talking about the Washington football team. Yes, I almost said their bad name that they used to be. I had to pause to kind of be like, nope, not their name. But the Washington football team, they made a move at quarterback, Dave, or they are making a move at quarterback. Dwayne Haskins is out. He is getting benched after a 1-3 start, Dave. Kyle Allen. So Rivera benched Dwayne Haskins and inserted Kyle Allen as the starting quarterback for Sunday's game against the Rams. Rivera used to have an eye on the future with Haskins. Now it's on a division whose first place team is the Philadelphia Eagles at 1-2-1. We're in a situation where if we're still trying to teach one guy and the other 52 aren't given an opportunity to see if we can win, then that's not fair, Rivera said. If someone in the division was 4-0 or 3-1, okay, but there's a chance to win the division. You have to look at it that way. Dave, is it just that simple? Is it just a thing of like, hey, we didn't think the division was going to be in reach at this point in the season? Oh, wait, it is, and I don't like what I'm seeing, and that's just it? Or is there something more to this?
Well, a couple things here. I think the state of the division definitely plays in. I think the fact that nobody thought that 1-2-1 would be first place.
Yep.
That's hilarious. And it just sounds dumb coming out of my mouth.
Yep. The NFC East, or now the NFC least.
Boom. It's back. The other thing is that, Dwayne Haskins was never his guy. He had no loyalty to Dwayne Haskins. He came in here after Haskins had been drafted. It's unfortunate for Dwayne Haskins. The confusing thing to me is, like, he didn't get put to second string. He got put to third string and then didn't take snaps in practice when a practice squad quarterback got snaps today. So, like, I'm going, wait, is there something else going on here that we're not privy to on the outside of the Washington football team bubble? Like, what is going on in that facility that is happening? The thing is, obviously, Kyle Allen last year played with the Panthers, Ron Rivera's former team. So like there's a direct connection there. Kyle Allen knows what Ron Rivera wants to do. And I think the interesting thing is Ron Rivera is in a position where he is seen as the new face of the new franchise, basically. He was brought in, and then all this drama, all this controversy hits. I shouldn't say hits. It came to a bubble because it's been there. It's been a toxic culture for no one knows how long, but since as long as I can remember, the story's coming back. And his job is to rebuild this team in whatever image he wants it to be. And like, he's got to make a lot of decisions. And to say that, hey, I'm not tied to this quarterback. Our offense is just shit. It's not moving. We're not moving the ball. A lot of things depend on a quarterback when it comes to that. And maybe he thinks that, hey, Dwayne Haskins can't run my offense the way I want to. It's not looking good. I need to figure out who's staying on this team. I need to figure out what we're going to draft for the next couple of years. I need to figure out long-term contract deals. And all I can tell right now is my offense sucks. Yeah. So like Kyle Allen can run an offense. I watched it last year. Yes, was a majority of that part of his job Christian McCaffrey? You're damn right it was. But that doesn't matter because at least he knows. Like there's a level up there. You know what I'm saying? So my thought is that he's going into this and going, I need to make sure that everybody else in this offense, not only am I trying to compete, that's number one. It's always number one. But I'm trying to evaluate all the talent on this offense. And I can't do that with a quarterback who has either been unwilling or unable to learn my system. Well, and as someone who is a Bears fan, I see similarities there.
I was thinking about it, Mitch and Haskins.
Obviously, there's a big difference between Mitch Trubisky and Dwayne Haskins, and then Super Bowl champion MVP Nick Foles,
Big Dick
and
Nick,
Kyle handball the fucking Christian McCaffrey Allen. So it's not an exact situation, cloned over, but there are enough similarities there to draw some thought.
Well, and the thing that I take away from what you said, the one thing that I'm like, ooh, I want to pick at not pick at it, but it's like, oh, no, let's jump on that. We've talked about it before. Is this has been a team that their culture has been losing. They're a team that every time we do predictions, it's like, well, usually you've got like last year, the Eagles and the Cowboys, then the Giants, then the Redskins, or the Redskins might beat out the Cowboys. Like usually the Redskins or the Washington football team is at the end. Whereas Ron Rivera doing a move that we talk about, how do you change that culture in your first year? Well, this is it. Saying, well, you know what? We're not going to stand for it. To where, yes, he kind of insinuated that if, let's say, the Eagles were 4-0 or 3-1, the move wouldn't have happened. But
when you're winning.
But this is something to where, you know what? We have the division. It's in grasp. We're going to go ahead and get it. We're not going to stand by and just say, well, we're going to sit back and let Haskins learn, because Ron Rivera's probably sitting there going, let me see. This could be let me see how you react to this kind of move, where Ron Rivera, Dwayne Haskins wasn't his guy. He didn't draft Dwayne Haskins. He might be still kind of learning and kind of feeling out, okay, what kind of a player is Dwayne Haskins? So this could be Ron Rivera, while trying to change a culture, saying, all right, kid, how do you react to this? Do you shut down? Do you still learn? Do you try to get better? What's going to happen out of you right now? And this is not something new to Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins, even at his time in Ohio State, had to sit behind JT Barrett before he eventually got the start with the Buckeyes. So, for me, this is just we're going to try to win games. Let me see how you react to this. But it could also mean if Ron Rivera doesn't like what's going on, or he feels like that Dwayne Haskins might not be the guy, there's a thought in my head of, do the Washington football team try to shop Haskins after the season? Will it get to that, or is it just we want to win right now, you're not the guy to win right now?
I think it's parts of a whole. I think winning now matters because winning solves a lot of problems, and it's just the quickest visual of wow, that team turned it around so quickly after last year, which looked abysmal. To be fair, And again, like Dwayne Haskins in his rookie year, he did play in 9 games, 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Yeah.
Not a great season, but he looked like he had promise, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He had some ability out there. He didn't look lost at all times, but he was 2-5. Clearly it was a rebuilding team.
Mm-hmm.
This year, 1-3 start. Again, nothing impressive. Like the thing that hurts me is just like, you don't see him taking shots.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he has completion over I don't think he has like a 45-yard completion.
Okay.
I'll be honest. And that's one of those things where it's like, okay, is this like the Josh Allen situation where you just can't throw a deep ball, or is it a system thing, or do you not have enough time on your feet to, let the play develop long enough to get a long completion? Like, what exactly is going on here? There's a lot of things you can pick apart in this man's game, but the problem is that you have to pick apart that offense, and you have to go, well, was this his fault or was it somebody else's fault? Because it's just a chain reaction
his longest completion this year, 40 yards.
Oh, wow. He made to 40
yards. Last year, his longest completion was a 75-yarder.
There you go. That's a lot of gap, though. But the whole thing I'm getting to is just like, I think that Ron Rivera wants to know what he's got with a lot of these guys. And I think this is the shot across the bow. Yeah. This is the everybody, he's not safe. That means no one's safe.
Yeah. Let me see what you guys can do.
First round pick in this kid, literally in 2019.
Yeah.
He's not my third string quarterback. I'm not fucking around. This is, I seriously think something happened. Something was said between those guys, because you don't go from starting QB to third stringer. We didn't demote Mitch Trubisky behind a practice squad guy where I coming off of a life-threatening injury. That's what blows my mind is and I know maybe we're reading too much into a chart, but it sends a message across to all of those guys on that roster that if you don't do whatever I say or pull your weight or play up to your potential in my mind, then I'm done with it. I don't have time for this shit.
Yeah,
and I think that's a big thing to do.
I agree with you. It's something that Ron Rivera is setting the tone for. This is what the Washington football team is going to be in my basically era of this team. And I know you bring up the chart and are we looking at too much of a depth chart? The only thing I think plays into that too is Dwayne Haskins going to third. The guy in between now, Allens and Haskins, is not just some practice squatter, Dave.
No.
It's Alex Smith. And I know that everyone's going to be like, well, Ricky, let him get over the leg thing first. He's cleared to play. He's been practicing with the team. I think this is a twofold thing. Like you said, bigger picture. The first picture is that, okay, the division is in, we are in a situation to be winning the division or in the beginning of the division.
Yeah, I mean, you're a quarter way through the season and you're literally a game back. You're absolutely competing for it.
You've already seen Haskins through 4 games. So Ron Rivera's probably like, okay, this is what the offense will look like if I go and continue forward. I look at the schedule, though, and I see what Ron Rivera is thinking. He goes, okay, I can go through the rest of the season with Dwayne Haskins and roll the dice. Or I can get Kyle Allen in for this week, treat this Rams game like a preseason game, where it's if we win, great. If we lose, not the end of the world. We lost to the Rams. They're a good football team. But it gets Kyle Allen into an actual game, into a field to where it's okay, you've got that practice now with this team running this offense. After the Rams, so many winnable games, Dave. Winless Giants, 1-win Dallas, winless Giants, 1-win Detroit, Joe Burrows, the 1-win Bengals team, the 1-win Cowboys team. You have what? That's a matter of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 winnable games to where I'm not saying they win all 6 of those like that, but it puts you in a situation to where if you can even win 4 of those games, you're up to what, 5 wins on the season? You're what would that be? 5-5 football team. You're at 500, and then entering the third act of the season, you can then make another choice, or even going into that Dallas game, that Thursday night game, you can make another choice of, all right, the ending of the schedule is where we get all of our winnable, all of our big teams. Pittsburgh, who's going to have a winning record. The 49ers, we'll wait and see how they go because of the injuries. Seattle winning record. Carolina, you get that rematch with Riverboat Ron's old team. And then a divisional battle, which could be for the division, could be the Sunday night game, to end the entire regular season on week 17. Before that game, you could then have maybe another quarterback change of if Alex Smith is good to go. Ron Rivera could also then say, hey, Kyle, you've been good. Thank you for everything you're done. But now we're in a situation to win this division, and Smith is going to be the one to do that for us.
I mean, that's the one thing is like, Alex, you couldn't ask for a better guy having an organization than Alex Smith. He has been through all of it. He has been a quarterback on a amazing team in his former homes, both former homes. Obviously, the 49ers, where he struggled with multiple head coaching swaps, multiple offensive coordinator swaps. Colin Kaepernick usurping his job after having an amazing performance. Like, great, you did great. He's going to be better. And like they had to deal with all that. Gets the boot, goes over to fucking Andy Reid, and it's like, Andy, if I got a guy for you, and goes to town. Absolutely goes to town. Great mentor for Pat Mahomes, year one. And then, hey, I'll keep on trucking. Not a problem, man. I'll go play for the Washington football team and continue doing what I do best. He's incredibly smart, super talented. Never a bad fucking thing comes out of his mouth. And he's one of those guys who likes to see others succeed. Like, he's been there to help other guys. But when you look at the results from like Haskins this year, man, he's got the worst QBR. He's 33 out of 33 eligible quarterback in QBR. He is 29th in quarterback rating. Like, I'm not saying those are perfect stats.
Yeah.
Those are not encouraging stats.
But I think Alex Smith will help Haskins in this, where Alex Smith ain't going to stand by and just let the young kid be on his own. I think Alex Smith is, while trying to get in his football shape, he's going to be someone that mentors the young kid as well.
Right. No, it's just, he's not been good, and you can't put all the blame on him. But at the same time, I can't say this is the wrong move. I can't be like Ron Rivera made the wrong move here. The only thing I can do is crack a couple jokes about draft night when everybody was freaking out about the Giants taking my boy Danny Dimes over there, and all you guys are like, but Dwayne Haskins is on the board.
Hey, the Giants aren't winning too. Like, I saw a Reddit thing come across my phone where I'm gonna look it up because I got an email from it. Where someone posted a Reddit post about your boy Dave, Danny Dimes. And it said, where would y'all rank Daniel Jones among this year's quarterbacks? Maybe an end of the season type thing. We see how they all go ahead and play out. But to me, I think if we're looking at that entire class, like, I'm trying to think, like, Danny Dimes has not impressed me. Dwayne Haskins hasn't even impressed me.
Draft QB.
Why am I blanking on the top guy? Why am I blank? Dwayne Haskins was not the top guy. Who was number one overall, Dave?
Kyler Murray.
That was right.
Dwayne Haskins, Drew Lock, Daniel Jones, Ryan Finley, Clayton Thorson.
Yep, Thorson. He was
Will Greer.
Will
Stidham.
Yeah,
Al Shermer. And a bunch of guys. Oh, Brett Rippon.
Yep, Rippon. That's the class where your main guys were Kyler Murray, Dwayne Haskins, Drew Lock,
Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew was one where it's like he was at, like, I was high on him coming out, but I knew he wasn't going to be a first rounder. And then like Daniel Jones.
There's a lot of blasts from the past in that shit.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I agree with you. Yeah. I agree with you.
That
this
class,
is a move that's not a mistake.
Murray's the best quarterback.
Yeah.
After that,
it's crapshoots. Like,
I mean, Gardner Minshew and Daniel Jones.
The Broncos even took they were taking a risk on Drew Lock in some people's eyes.
I think Drew Lock might be number 2 at the moment, but I think Haskins is better than him long term if he gets any help.
Yeah, I mean,
I would probably go Murray, Lock, Daniel Jones. Sorry, I meant Daniel Jones instead of Haskins. Murray, Locke, Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Murray, Locke, Minshew, Jones. Murray, Locke, Minshew, Jones.
Yeah.
That's my top 4 in the class.
I would go. See, I'd be on the other side. I'd go Murray, Minshew, Locke, Jones.
Yeah, Minshew deserves to be higher in my own mind. What I saw out of Locke at the end of last year, I have this trajectory for him that's completely unrealistic. And because he hasn't gotten to play this year outside of like prior to his injury, like I still got that up here. Yeah, so until reality crashes down and 3 more games played from him, I got Locke higher.
Let's move on, Dave. Let's go into a segment we love to do here on MVP Sports Live. These are the dampest of dudes, the soggiest of shooters, the moistest of men, and sometimes the mistiest of misses. This is also going to push us into our next conversation afterwards. How we do it is these are our players of the day from the day prior. Dave gives a wet boy, I give a wet boy, and then the patrons at patreon.com/MVPVids, silver and above, get to vote daily on their wet boys as well. We go through all 3 of them. Dave, as we always do, I will start with you. Who's your wet boy, October 7th, 2020?
Gotta go to the NBA because it is the finals, and I refuse to.
You might only get one more.
You
might only get one more wet boy.
It's true. I might be down for wet boys for the year at this
There'll
point.
be football players that Dave gives it to.
The League of Legends World Championships is going on right now.
Gotta get the E-boys in there too.
On the weekends, we're going to be covered.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm going with Anthony Davis here. He was clutch. Not the clutchest man on the court. I don't know if that guy's getting a wet boy today. I'll have to wait and see. But Anthony Davis, 100% from the free throw line, which you didn't count here, but 100% from the free throw line. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you other than the fact that he's a freak of nature when it comes to athleticism, size, shooting, just soft touch, skill. He has everything you want. He had a big block when the game was on the line. He changed the way that Jimmy Butler played the game because the Lakers, to the coach's credit, Frank Vogel, maybe perhaps most overlooked head coach in the NBA, made an adjustment defensively. Unless Rondo or LeBron made this adjustment and they told the team, I take it back. But I'm assuming their head coach actually saw this and changed the way they played against Jimmy Butler and had really good results with that, forcing him out on that 3-point line, letting him have that space out there and packing the paint down low, calling doubles when necessary. Like they made some good swaps because I don't think anybody came into the series and went like, oh yeah, I totally see LeBron James, Anthony Davis matching up with Bam and Jimmy as like defensive, offensive matchups. Like that just wasn't something that I saw coming.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I give Frank Vogel a lot of shit, but I will say he's not the worst coach ever. Because you think about it during that Pacer Heat series from a long time ago, he put the Pacers in opportunities to win. It's just Roy Hibbert
who had the wrong guy taking the last shot.
Roy Hibbert couldn't hit a fucking layup. Patrick Ewing did.
They also had the wrong guy taking the last shot.
Yeah, good point. But yeah, I give Frank Vogel shit. I know personally, but sometimes he's not Jim Boylan. Let's put it that way. It's hard to be Jim Boylan. Dave was my wet boy, or is it a wet boy? I actually called this yesterday. I said if X, Y, and Z happened on Tuesday night,
and did it?
It did. I don't have a wet boy. I have a misty miss. Breanna Stewart, second one this week. It wasn't like, okay, so you look at the stat line, you're like, okay, that's pretty good. I mean, for a dominant scoring performance. For a forward, 70% from the field, 75. But the more important thing is, Dave, she is now a WNBA champion. The Seattle Storm swept the Aces last night. And, Dave, it wasn't even close. Do you want to know the final score of the game yesterday?
Yeah, absolutely.
92-52. They dominated the Aces. It was
congratulations to Seattle Storm.
Domination.
WNBA team winning a championship, bringing a ring home to Seattle.
Basketball's back, baby.
Basketball's back. Also,
I'm sorry, 59. 92-59.
Still disrespectful. Will this be a sign? Will Adam Silver? He made a claim a couple years ago. He will get a team to Seattle. How many years more do we have to wait?
Oh, they've got to do it. They've got It's
gotta make it happen.
I'm excited for Seattle. You have an NBA champion. You probably should have had an NBA champion before, but in the NBA, but I'm sorry you just ran into the GOAT. Sometimes that happens. In 96, should have had it, but you didn't. Father's Day is a special day in the Bulls household. But yeah, Seattle Storms, WNBA Finals champions 2020. They get to pop the champagne. And then, Dave, the patrons, they're going to the NBA like you, but I'm going to say I don't think they went with the guy you were talking about. The one where you mentioned where you're like how'd you put it, the clutchest?
Yeah, he was clutch. I mean, I'll give him a shout out. Honorable mention to KCP then.
Okay, he did not. It was LeBron James.
Yeah, you did tell me that night. I already forgotten it.
Yep,
I had forgotten it. So shout out to KCP. This is LeBron James on your screen. KCP had a great game. Good defense. Timely shooting. Timely shooting gets you paid, and that is exactly what's going to happen for KCP this offseason. We'll see if he decides to take a pay out and go to another team, or if he keeps wanting to ride this train, because I don't want anybody to stop this shit.
Yeah,
I mean, it's scary. But LeBron James doing LeBron James things. He played a super clean second half. Excellent fourth quarter. I think he had one turnover maybe in the second half and none in the fourth quarter. So just everything you want out of LeBron James doing LeBron James.
See, to me, the patrons are going to have a problem with me because I agree with you, Dave. If I had to pick, I would have given the wet boy. Like, if I had to pick between LeBron and KCP, I would have leaned more to KCP. And the only reason why is, and yet again, this is a debate that we've had on Wet Boys in the past with Sean, to where it's like, is LeBron James overlooked in here because, A, you want to spread the wealth. You don't want to give it to the same guy week after week after week. This time, day after day after day. But do you also want to shed light on, like, hey, this guy played above his level, to where KCP showed up last night, to where, like...
I mean, Rondo showed up, too. Rondo and KCP were huge. Rondo's shooting is just a plus. He didn't have it last night, but that doesn't matter because he was on
7 boards, 5 assists. Was
the people who made on playoff Rondo, they don't know. They don't even know.
They don't know. They do not know. But, Dave, let's move on into that conversation, into the NBA Finals. The Game 4 ended last night, and for a while, I thought the Heat might be able to pull it out. I was picking my shots. I was coming in and out.
Back and forth game. They held it close the whole way.
Yep. I was hoping they'd win, though, and they did.
Basically, down the last 4 minutes of the game, it was a tight game, but you could feel it slipping.
Yeah.
I did not feel good about that, and I felt like it was going. Can the Heat come back?
Can they? 3-1. It's the dreaded 3-1 that you never want to hear. The only difference is the Lakers have faced, this will be their fourth 3-1 this year, and they've beaten every team. So, like, with me, I think everyone's going to expect it to end on Friday. I'm going to say it doesn't. I'm going to say the Heat win on Friday. It ends on Sunday. I would love it. I would love it to end Tuesday night. Game 7, Jimmy Butler coming back. I'm still hoping for it, Dave. That's who I'm rooting for. But realistically, I think the Heat will come out ready to play Game 5. They will go ahead and be like, okay, you played better that game, but LeBron James will just come back on Sunday and just end it in 6.
Yep. Bam still had a little tightness. He wasn't quite as mobile out there. You know, he did take something for that neck, obviously. Goran, I was surprised by the fact that, like, oh, he's gonna try to run a couple out there and practice and see how he feels. Like, what the fuck? Like, what kind of drugs are you giving this man that he can tolerate that kind of pain levels? Like, that's not possible.
Dude,
in my mind.
give him the cortisone shots, man. Just right in the foot.
I mean, you literally would have to numb his entire foot, and then the nerves going up. Like, it's just. Yeah. So
hey, man, anything for the team, man. It's the NBA Finals.
Balls on that team. If he goes out there next on Friday night. That would be something special. I think they win one more game. My heart again, Ricky. This finals is always heart versus head. Yeah. Like I said it to you day one. It was like of this finals matchup. It was my heart tells me the Heat. My head tells me the Lakers are going to cruise. Like it's just one way or the other. Could they come back? Yes. It would be the craziest comeback in the NBA Finals, because not only would it be a 3-1 comeback.
I'm trying to think.
The thing that LeBron made famous and came back, and it's basically the LeBron. You know, everybody associates the 27, 7, and 7 because it's his career averages with LeBron James. No. The 3-1 comeback is the LeBron. can LeBron get LeBroned by Jimmy Butler, who is his father? Like,
that would be the ultimate. Jimmy Butler is your father.
It would be. It also would be. You have a stacked team in the West Coast, and then you got this, team who's got injuries. They're overcoming. They've got everything going wrong for them to start the series. Do you not see the parallels between that Cleveland team and this Miami team?
I didn't even put it into perspective that way.
The narrative is there. There's only one problem. No one's been kicked in the balls by J.R. Smith.
Yeah. The Heat got to give Draymond Green a call too. Hey, can you go play for the Lake? Teach Anthony Davis how to kick someone in the balls so he could get suspended for a game 6 so that we don't have to go against him. The one thing, Dave, I brought up before the show.
Yeah.
I said you should be proud of me because I didn't get baited into a conversation in the NBA chat.
Well, I feel like we had our conversation. I thought that got a lot of the resolved feelings out of there. Like the unresolved feelings. Yeah, the resolved feelings are there, but I want to speak to like the population for a second. And this isn't a what I think over what you think, because when you talk about the GOAT conversation, it's like I said before. I'm not changing your mind. You're not changing my mind. It's all in the heart. You say you're not changing people's minds. I think that's a false.
Nothing I can. If you are a LeBron GOAT stan, nothing I can say will change your mind. You will always think LeBron is the GOAT.
But I was on the other side. I was a Jordan GOAT stan. No,
I'm saying like,
and now I've flopped.
Like
basically,
there are people that like.
Anita went from Jordan,
but did you flop because somebody was like, think about this, and this, or was it just you were like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna flop over?
No, it was just the career of that guy, and it's been talked about for so long, and it's like, well, did you think about this? Did you think about that? And it's just different people provide different perspectives on the situation that I'm like, I didn't think about the fact that X, Y, and Z happened.
Like I've said before, I think Kendrick, even though Kendrick Perkins is the worst analyst in the NBA, stand by that. KP, come on the show. I would love to talk to you. Because you've been. You played the game of basketball. I did not. I just don't think you're a good NBA analyst.
Compare your 5th grade basketball career with Kendrick Perkins.
5th and 6th. Let's give the 6th grade some love
to that team.
I was the big.
You're the enforcer.
Babyface Davis, man. Nobody wanted and that's the thing I hated about my coach. A little rant for a second. He knew who I was, and it was always, all right, we're playing shirts and skins, and then he would pick my team to be the skins. It's like, I know what you're fucking doing. You want me without my shirt on, you little creep. But, I mean, so there was something posted where I will say, Sean posted it. Sean, I love you. You got baited by Skip. That's the first thing. Because Skip posted how winning this ring will hurt LeBron's GOAT case. Now on @Undisputed. And there was a little conversation of like, if this ain't the dumbest shit I've ever seen, how the fuck does winning hurt your legacy? Dave, you brought up something that I wasn't even going to bring up. You were like, bro, it's an asterisk season, which I do believe in, but we're not having that conversation. I know you were. And then you said, duh, of course it hurts. God, I hate Skip. Here's me trying to tell you, like, not Skip Bayless, but the people that, like, winning isn't going to hurt his GOAT kid. Like, the reason why I think people will believe this is the fact of, and this is the only viable thing that I have, and yet again, you can refute it, and I'm not saying, like, it's a perfect logical thing of, this is the weakest LeBron's final opponent, to where if you stacked up finals opponents between Jordan and LeBron, just overall, all of Jordan's opponents would be ranked way higher than this Heat team. Even if Jordan didn't retire, didn't go to baseball, the two teams that he would have played in the Rockets, way better than this Heat team. Like, that's where I think that the people that are going to say by winning this ring goes against LeBron, to where me, it's like, that's kind of being hypocritical, because if you're going to say that rings count so much, why are you going to basically discount a ring? Like, you can rank the rings, like you can say like, oh, this one, a lot of these were tougher to win than this one, but like,
arguably LeBron beat the toughest team in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, and I will say that the Warriors were the toughest
If
team.
you're gonna power rank the rings, LeBron's got number 1.
Yeah, but I'm saying yet again, this is something I haven't dove into. I haven't done the research on it.
I think that's the spin-off show. We do a one-off LeBron, Jordan.
And here's the question. How many of Jordan's rings rank higher than LeBron's? Because, yes, Jordan never had to go up against a team like the Warriors because he was the Warriors. That 96 Bulls team was the Warriors. The Seattle Supersonics didn't have LeBron. That was the problem. They had the glove, which I will say, funniest thing from The Last Dance is Gary Payton basically saying, "Why aren't you putting me on Why aren't you putting me on Jordan? Why aren't you doing it? I'm the best defender in the GD league." But that's just the thing. Sure. It's I saw that and I'm like, this is why people will think that, because this Heat team, legacy wise, talent wise, they're a good team. They did their job. They got to the finals, but compared to the Jazz teams, compared to the other teams that LeBron had to face in the Spurs and that Thunder team and that Maverick team, to where I feel like this is the not least talented, but if you rank them on toughness, this is the lowest team out of any of those rings. That's why people are going to have that stand. Maybe that Mavericks team, but then that even makes it worse because you lost a ring to then the lowest talented, not talented. What's the word I want to use? It's not lowest talented. It's just power rankings, how you would power rank them, where if you're going off of which team's the best, Warriors are at the top, even if that Maverick team is on the bottom, then that looks even worse because it's great, you lost to the one team you should have beaten. That's just the logic I think that people are going to have behind it. That's all I wanted to get out there.
I don't know if I believe they're the lowest ranked team if we power ranked victories.
Like you said, this would be a fun little YouTube segment.
I think it just, people say that because they're underrated right now. When people are going to turn around in 10 years and look at this, they're wait, they had Tyler Hero and Bam
they went to the NBA Finals?
Yeah, in their rookie years for fucking Tyler and Duncan Robinson. They did this shit with Dragic, who was hurt and all that shit. Plus, I seriously say that Trailblazers is probably lower. If you're going Jordan versus LeBron.
I mean, yet again, this would be fun to.
I know, it's another show. We're going to do it. It will happen because now I want to do it.
Yeah. It's just I mean, who?
I think the problem is right now it's so fresh and it's not even over. Yeah. And we're already talking about legacy for LeBron James. So maybe a little cart before the horse.
Yeah. Dave, the last thing I want to kind of look at is this news came out right as we ended the show yesterday. Said we would talk about it today. I'm going to make a statement at the beginning of it. To where, Alvin Gentry gets hired by the Sacramento Kings as an associate coach to the Kings. Dave, I know this is low-hanging fruit, but if I am Luke Walton, I am worried. I'm not showing I'm worried, but I'm worried because Soapy and I, when Soapy was on to fill in for you one of the days that you couldn't make it to the show, we talked about them hiring their new GM or president of operation. I don't know. I think it was just one of the. I don't know if it was vacation day. I think it was just one day you were like, "Hey, I can't." Oh, Little League Day. That's what it was. Little League Day. It was Little League Day. Where we talked about them getting their new president of operations, GM, whatever it was, Monty. And to me, bringing in Gentry, this is basically the front office now telling Luke Walton, "You're not safe this year." Yep. I now have the guy that where if I don't see, because bringing in Monty, it's one of those, he has no allegiance to Luke Walton.
I thought they did coach together previously.
Did they?
I thought they were on the same staff at some point.
Okay. Because to me...
Perhaps for the Warriors.
Because I read into this...
Honestly, I think it was the Warriors. I'm pretty sure they were both
So he was the Warriors and then went over to Atlanta and was a part of that whole... Because I think he came from Atlanta before he went to Sacramento. But my point being is, I think this is the front office telling Luke Walton, if shit don't look good this year, we're going to pull the plug mid-season and then Gentry will be the interim head coach.
I'm pulling up.
I mean, or it could be hey, you got Buddy Hield. Like, this is a coach that's worked with young guys, doesn't have to have the pressures of a head coach. But, like, for me, I see this as Luke Walton, you're already a question. You're on the hot seat already. Why not have a guy behind you who can be the interim if we have to pull the plug on you?
You said Monty Williams, and it was Alvin Gentry. And that already confused me.
No, I'm talking about the basketball. I'll look it up.
Yeah, Alvin Gentry. You kept saying Monty Williams.
No. Monty is the first name of their new Monty McNair, the new general manager for the Kings.
Gotcha.
That's who because I couldn't think of his last name, but I knew his name was Monty.
Okay.
That's who I was talking about.
Okay, yeah, I was like,
so now that I got the name, Monty McNair Monty McNair making this hire to tell Luke Walton, if I have to pull the plug on you, I will, because now I got a guy who I'm confident being the interim head coach if I have to fire you this year.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think Luke Walton should have a job today. I don't think that he should be a head coach in the NBA in the near future. I think that Alvin Gentry probably should have his job by mid-season. Like, Luke Walton walked into a situation where Dave Yeager got the team prepped. They were just outside the playoff picture looking in. Yep. Like, all right, we just a couple tweaks, we'll be there. Another good draft pick year. We're going to get there, guys. Don't worry about it. We are an up-and-coming team. And they've just looked like ass underneath Luke Walton. He took away that quick-paced offense, that fast break style in transition that they were so successful with, because guess what? They have the fastest player in the league. You know what that does? That creates havoc on transition defense, which means Buddy Hield shoots about 85% from three on transition threes. Yeah. Like, think about it. It's painful to understand that, like, this, rocket of a team that the Kings, because I remember, I specifically remember the offseason conversation with you, me, and Sean, talking about how we all low-key were hyped about what the Kings had done last season. Like, I can't wait to see what they're going to do this season. Like, they got a loaded team. They're young. They're aggressive. They play quick. And now they got that head coach, Luke Walton, coming in off his time with the champs. Like, ooh. Well, not with the champs, but with
he had that LA in between.
Yeah, he had the stint in LA where, let's be honest, we all kind of wanted to write off and be like, but he was good. But he wasn't. Yeah. He's an awful head coach, apparently.
I mean, and it's funny you say rocket because I looked at them projected. I looked it up, and it wasn't the Hawks that Monty McNair came from. It was the Rockets. So the GM now was in that front office staff. I think he was the assistant or associate GM underneath Daryl Morey. So it's basically him and Morey running the show. Now he's with the Kings running that show, and now he makes his first move to where I completely agree with you. I think that I'm not even going to say midseason. I'm going to say, it depends on how many games are played. If we have a full season. Are you
surprised they didn't just go Dan Antoni and be done with it then?
No, because I don't think Dan Antoni wants to go to the Kings. I think Dan Antoni wants to go to a contender. That's why he was talking to the 76ers. That's why I think, that's why I think he'll end up with either the Thunder or the Clippers. I almost said just Clippers outright, but Clippers are doing their due diligence. There's news that they're interviewing, I think his name's Darwin Ham from Milwaukee.
Yep.
They're interviewing him either today or tomorrow, or it happened yesterday. Article was on ESPN. But all this coaching stuff, whenever it's just this guy gets an interview, I look at it and I go, you know what? I don't want to talk about it until something happens. Because otherwise we're talking about hey, so-and-so got an interview. All right, how does this change it? Oh, not much.
Not much yet, but it could. But no, Alvin Gentry, I think it's a big hire. Yeah. I honestly do. I think it's one of the best available guys. We all liked what he could do for the Pelicans.
I was shocked that he got fired with the Pelicans.
He was just in a no-win situation. He was there with AD.
Yeah.
And it felt like the front office was not ready to do everything it took to build around AD, or they couldn't put the right pieces around him.
And then they didn't want to get rid of AD. Didn't want to trade him to the Lakers. I'm sorry.
And then they did.
Yeah. Because the league probably stepped in and said, hey, play nice, try to make a deal. Don't be assholes about it.
All right. And he took a flawed team, to the brink of the playoffs. So very similar to what the Kings were before Luke Walton.
Mm-hmm.
Like this team, the Pelicans this year had some obvious holes in that team.
Yeah.
But he did pretty well. Obviously, the Zion situation complicated thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it all in all, like not a bad coach, but definitely seems like he knows a lot of what to do to get the guys to pop off, because we saw the best performance of the year out of his career from Brandon Ingram. Drew Holiday, I feel like saying the word low key and Drew Holiday just feels like default to me. So like I'm not gonna say it anymore.
Low key.
Everybody knows who Drew Holiday is.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who he is. So like they had a good year. They made the pieces fit as best as they could, but they're not champs. Obviously, they're not even playoffs. But like he did what he could.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for it. So I think that yes, he's gonna be a new head coach for the Sacramento Kings before the year's over.
And one of the things I think will also play into Luke Walton losing his job next season, middle of the season, is I think the Suns are going to come out hot. Suns finished 8-0. If they start out hot and it looks like, wow, they could be a playoff team, like the Kings are going to sit there and go, a change needs to be made because we should be there.
The Suns, the hottest bubble team, right?
Hottest, pun intended, I hope.
Hottest bubble team. Oh, you know that was intended. You know me. They were the hottest bubble team. They had an insane level of just cohesion because they finally had like the starting five back together for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
would they have beaten the Lakers if they were the 8th seed?
Totally not. Like, not.
Could you imagine that, sir? If Devin Booker beat LeBron in the first round?
Definitely not happening ever. Even when LeBron's 45, he's still not losing to Devin Booker.
I think the last 8 over a 1 was either it
was Grizzlies, wasn't it?
It was either Grizzlies Spurs, or I think the 76ers over the Bulls was after that. The Derrick Rose injury series.
Why did you mention that?
It's either one of those two. Like that's where it's at. But we'll say Grizzlies over the Spurs. It was definitely the Grizzlies over the Spurs. We have no bad memories about that still. Like 9 years later, 10 years later.
You're my fucking night. I'm not gonna lie. You said the word Sixers and Bulls, and you're like that Derrick Rose year. I was like, oh.
There's only two more words I can say to make the night even worse, or turn it from a depressed night to an angry Dave night.
It's a name.
Yeah, it's a name that I'm not going to say.
Thank you. I know it. I'm thinking it doesn't even matter.
I don't want you to be upset. For those of you who don't know, find out. You'll guess in the comments below who this name could be that I am thinking of from that year. But yeah, Kings, I like the move. Luke Walton, I'm sorry, you're losing your job. That's what it means.
I agree.
That's just what it means for this. Any final thoughts, Dave? On anything. Athletics
if it's
won.
On anything. I think that. No, I really don't.
Dave's like, I thought I had something. I don't though.
I really don't. I was trolling through the Washington football team's Reddit or subreddit, I should say.
Yeah.
And like, I wanted to find some like conspiracy theory behind the Dwayne Haskins stuff. But the best thing I got out of here is this post by IU29. Haskins' test is word for word what Rivera told everyone. Rivera said outright at the beginning of the season, I asked my players to do things my way. I'll take the responsibility. Turner asked Haskins to throw it into the end zone. He didn't. Questionable quarterback is one thing. Questionable quarterback you can't trust is another.
Ooh. My way or the highway from Ron Rivera. If I tell you to do something, if I tell you to jump, that question should be how high.
The other play that stands out is the other play downfield. I'm sure that they said, above all else, don't take a sack. And then he runs backwards 15 yards trying to extend a dead play and gets sacked. I don't think it's performance. I think it's trust. Oof. And I think that, again...
Sounds like a little mental, too, in that case, of like... Drop 15. Oh, I can make this work rather than, okay, bootleg it out, throw it away, live to see another day.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with young QBs don't know when to say when. That's they're heroes. They've been the best player on their team their whole life.
You reminded me of a video I saw today from Barstool Sports where they're like, no, this one's not one of those bad ones. They're like, man, young Joe Burrow's learning not to take a hit, and it's him mic'd up where in the last game he went to slide and he got up and he's like, oh man, I almost got you. He goes, yeah, I ain't taking any more of those hits anymore. You guys hit harder than the college kids. And then he's talking to the ref and the ref's like, hey man, if you're going to slide, give yourself up like a lot clearer. And he goes, yeah, you know, like I'm learning. He goes, yeah, they hit harder up here. He goes, the ref's like, yeah, we want you around for a while. He goes, yeah, I want to be around too.
I want to remember this year happened.
Man. Yeah, I want to remember my career happened, not just this year.
So, yeah, like I said, it's an interesting thing. I think we'll hear some more coming out from the Washington football team about Dwayne Haskins as the week evolves. But,
and let's see if they start winning games now with Kyle Allen in there.
I mean, even if they don't, I don't really care.
Dave's like, whatever. Winning is not what I'm for.
When we hit our boy, the walking miracle, coming into the game to save the day, push him into the playoffs, perhaps. It's not too early to say.
I think it's going to happen.
Could be the savior.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. But that's going to do it for MVP Sports Live today. Thank you guys for checking us out. Make sure to join that Discord, link down below, or ! Discord in Twitch chat. Make sure to, if you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids, how you do that. Thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. You can also throw us a sub on Twitch, where we're live every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids. We're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. Thank you guys again for checking us out. Dave and I will be back for a Thursday edition tomorrow. But as always, have a good day, everybody.